The wind howled across the broken mountains of what used to be Mongolia. Daeho pulled his coat tighter as he walked through the ruins. The war had ended 6 months ago, but Earth still looked like a wounded animal trying to heal. Craters dotted the landscape where orbital strikes had fallen, twisted metal from crashed ships stuck out of the ground like grave markers. Daeho was tired. He had spent 3 years as a combat medic during the war against the Velthrian Empire. Now he worked as a xenobiologist, studying the alien species that humans had encountered. The government wanted to catalog everything before starting the real reconstruction work. It was boring compared to war, but Daeho preferred boring. He had seen enough excitement to last a lifetime. His scanner beeped. Daeho stopped walking and looked at the small device in his hand. The reading made no sense. The scanner showed an energy signature coming from deep inside the collapsed mountain ahead. But that was impossible. This area had been surveyed twice already. Nothing lived here anymore. He tapped the scanner, thinking it might be broken. The reading stayed the same. Actually, it got stronger. Whatever was inside that mountain was big, very big, and it was giving off more energy than a small fusion reactor. Daeho knew he should report this. Protocol said to call it in and wait for a full team. But he was curious. 3 years of war had taught him to trust his instincts, and his instincts said this was important. He checked his oxygen mask, made sure his emergency beacon was working, and started climbing toward the mountain. The entrance of the cavern was hidden behind fallen rocks. Daeho had to squeeze through a narrow gap. His helmet light cut through the darkness as he descended. The air inside was warmer than it should be. He could feel heat radiating from somewhere deep below. The cavern opened up into a massive space. Daeho stood at the edge and pointed his light downward. He could not see the bottom. The scan was going crazy now, beeping rapidly. The energy source was close. Very close. He found a path leading down and followed it carefully. The rock wall showed signs of melting, like something extremely hot had been here. Strange patterns covered the stone, almost like writing, but in no language Daeho recognized. He took pictures as he walked, knowing his sister Hannah would want to see them. She was a language expert in the family. After 20 minutes of climbing down, Daeho reached the cavern floor. His light swept across the space and he froze. His mind struggled to process what he was seeing. A dragon. There was a dragon in the cavern. It was bigger than any creature Daeho had ever seen. Bigger than the Velthrian war beasts. Bigger than Earth's ancient whales. The dragon's body was covered in scales that shimmered with colors that seemed to shift and change. Massive wings were folded against its sides. But the creature was trapped. Huge crystalline structures, probably from the orbital bombardment, had fallen and pinned it to the ground. Daeho's first instinct was to run. Every human instinct screamed that this was a predator, a monster, but he did not run. He had learned during the war to recognize when something was dangerous and when something was just afraid. This dragon was not preparing to attack. It was dying. The dragon's chest barely moved. Its breathing was shallow and slow. One massive eye opened and focused on Daeho. The eye was gold, flecked with colors that had no names. It looked at him with an intelligence that made Daeho feel small and young. Then something impossible happened. A voice spoke inside Daeho's head. "Hello, child of Earth." Daeho stumbled backward. His hand went to his sidearm out of habit. Even though he knew a pistol would be useless against something this size. The voice came again, patient and calm. "Do not be afraid. I cannot harm you. I can barely move." "What are you?" Daeho managed to say out loud. His voice echoed in the cavern. "I am what your kind once called dragon, though that is a simple word for something complex. I am the last of my kind, and I have been waiting for you." "Waiting for me? That's impossible. I didn't even know you existed until 5 minutes ago." The dragon made a sound that might have been laughter. "Not you specifically. I have been waiting for one of your kind. A human. Someone who would listen. Someone who would understand." Daeho's scientific mind started working again. The shock was wearing off. "You speak Korean." "How?" "I speak no language. I touch your mind and you hear thoughts as words. Your brain translates them into what you know. If I spoke to another, they would hear their own tongue. How long have you been here? In this cavern? Since your war ended. The bombardment caused a mountain to collapse. I was resting here, waiting for the right time. I did not expect to be buried, but perhaps it is fitting. I am dying anyway. Deho moved closer, his medical training taking over. Are you injured? Can I help? I am not injured. I am old, older than your civilization, older than your species. I have lived millions of your years, and now my time is ending. This is natural, expected. But before I die, I have one wish. A wish. The dragon's eye closed, then open again slowly. I have watched your kind for a very long time. I have seen you build and destroy. I have seen you fight wars that you could not win, and yet you won them anyway. I watched your recent war with great interest. You watched the war? From here. I see far more than you might think. I watched your kind face an empire that was stronger, more advanced, more numerous. Every logical calculation said you would lose. You should have surrendered. Many species did when facing the Velthrians, but not humans. You fought. You adapted. You dreamed of victory when victory was impossible, and somehow you achieved it. Deho felt a strange mix of pride and confusion. That's what humans do. We're stubborn, sometimes stupid. We don't know when to quit. Yes, exactly. That is why I chose your kind. That is why only a human can grant my final wish. I don't understand. What could I possibly give you? You're a dragon. You've lived for millions of years. What could a human have that you don't? The dragon was quiet for a long moment. When the voice returned, it carried a weight of sadness that made Deho's chest hurt. I want to dream. To dream? You mean sleep? Rest? No, I mean dream. Imagine. See things that do not exist and believe they might. This is something I have never done. Something my kind could never do. We preserved life across the galaxy. We protected. We remembered. But we could never create. We could never imagine. We could never dream of tomorrow. That is your gift, child of Earth. And I am asking you to share it with me before my flame goes out forever. Deho stared at the massive creature, his mind racing. A dragon that could not dream. An ancient being asking a human for help. It was absurd. Impossible. And yet, here he was, standing in a cavern talking to a creature from myth, being asked to do something he did not understand. That is what we must discover together. Will you help me, Deho? He had not told the dragon his name, but somehow it knew. Deho looked at the dying creature, trapped and alone, asking for one final gift before death. He thought about all the people he had tried to save during the war. Some he had saved, many he had not, but he had always tried. Yes, he said, I'll help you. Deho returned to the cavern 3 days later. This time he was not alone. His sister Hannah walked beside him, her equipment bag bouncing against her hip. She had not stopped talking since he told her about the dragon. A real dragon, she said again, shaking her head. An actual dragon. Do you know how impossible this is? Dragons are myths. Stories. They don't exist. I know what I saw, Deho replied, and you'll see it too in a few minutes. If this is a joke, I'm going to be very angry. I canceled 3 meetings to come here. It's not a joke. They squeezed through the gap in the rocks and descended into the cavern. Hannah's breath caught when Deo's light revealed a massive form of Yo below them. She stopped walking and just stared. By all the stars, she whispered. It's real. It's actually real. The dragon's eye opened as they reached the cavern floor. The voice filled both their minds this time. Welcome, Hannah. Your brother has told me much about you. You study languages. You seek to understand how beings communicate. Hannah grabbed Deho's arm. It's talking in my head. How is it talking in my head? I told you. It's telepathic. Telepathy isn't real. It violates basic physics. Many things violate what you think you know. Yo said gently, the universe is stranger than your science has yet discovered. But that is not why you are here. You are here because I need you to understand my words completely, to know their true meaning. Your brother is kind, but he does not have your gift for understanding context and nuance. Hannah slowly released Deho's arm. She was a scientist, trained to observe and document. Her shock was giving way to curiosity. You said you want to dream. I've been thinking about that. Dreams are just random neural firing during sleep. They're not special. Is that what you truly believe? Yo asked, that dreams are meaningless noise? Well, no, not entirely. Dreams can process emotions and memories. They help us solve problems. But they're still just brain activity. Then let me tell you what dreams are to me, the dragon said. Let me tell you the story of my kind. Over the next hour, Yo spoke. The dragon's voice in their minds painted pictures of a time before humans existed, before most current species existed. The dragon race had been the first to achieve sentience in this region of the galaxy. They were powerful, nearly immortal. They could survive in space without ships. They could manipulate energy with thought alone. We spread across the stars. Yo continued. We found young worlds and protected them. We prevented asteroids from destroying developing life. We stopped solar flares from sterilizing planets. We were gardeners, tending to the galaxy's living things. We were proud of this role. That sounds noble, Deho said. It was our downfall. We preserved, we protected, but we never created. We could see what was, but we could never imagine what might be. We had perfect memory, but no imagination. We could recall every moment of our long lives, but we could not dream of futures that did not yet exist. Hannah was taking notes rapidly. You're saying your species lack creativity? More than that, we lack the ability to conceive of possibilities. If I showed you a broken tool, you might imagine 10 different ways to fix it. You might even imagine building something entirely new from the pieces. I would only see a broken tool. I could tell you its history, its function, how it broke, but I could not imagine it being anything other than what it was. That must have been limiting, Deho said. It was fatal. One by one, my kind realized we had reached the end of our development. We could not evolve. We could not change. We could not dream of becoming more than we were. So we made a choice. We entered hibernation. We hid ourselves away in secret places, hoping that one day we would wake to find species that could teach us what we lacked. But you didn't hibernate, Hannah observed. You stayed awake. I was the last. Someone had to watch. Someone had to see if the galaxy produced what we hoped for. And I have watched for a very long time. I have seen species rise and fall. I have seen empires span 1,000 worlds and collapse into dust. I have seen so much, but I never saw what I was looking for. Not until I found humans. Deho shifted uncomfortably. We're nothing special. We're aggressive. We fight each other constantly. We destroy our own environment. We're barely holding our civilization together. Yes, Yo said, and there was warmth in the mental voice. And yet you dream. Even in your darkest moments, you dream of better days. Even when logic says you should give up, you imagine ways to win. During your war with the Velthrians, I watched you face impossible odds. Other species surrendered to them. It was logical, practical, the smart choice, but humans refused. You kept fighting because you could dream of victory even when it did not exist. We lost a lot of people, Deho said quietly. Maybe we should have surrendered. Maybe fewer would have died. Perhaps, but you would not be you if you had surrendered. The ability to dream of the impossible is what makes humans special. It is what makes you dangerous. And it is what makes you beautiful. Hannah had stopped taking notes. She was staring at the dragon with tears in her eyes. You've been alone all this time, watching, waiting, for millions of years. I have, and now I am dying. My time is ending. But before I go, I want to experience what I never could. I want to know what it feels like to imagine something that does not exist. I want to dream. How would we even do that? Deho asked, how do you transfer dreams from a human mind to a dragon? There is a way, a mental link, much deeper than this simple communication. I would open my consciousness fully to one of you. You would share your dreams with me, your hopes, your fears, your visions of what might be, I would finally understand what I have been missing. Hannah and Deho looked at each other. Hannah spoke first. That sounds dangerous. Mental links aren't something we know how to do safely. You could damage someone's mind. Yes, that is the risk. The human brain is not designed to connect with consciousness as old and vast as mine. It would be like pouring a cup of water into an ocean and expecting the ocean to taste it. The strain could harm you permanently. It could burn out your neural pathways. It could trap your consciousness in my dying mind. You might not survive. Then we can't do it. Hannah said firmly, there has to be another way. There is no other way. This is what I am asking for. One of you must take the risk, or I will die without ever knowing what it means to dream. Deho was quiet. He was thinking about the war, about all the times he had risked his life to save others, about the soldiers he had pulled from burning ships, about the aliens he had treated, even though they were supposed to be enemies. He had always believed some things were worth the risk. I'll do it, he said. Deho, no. Hannah grabbed his arm again. You don't know what this will do to you. I know, but I'm going to do it anyway. Why? You don't know this creature anything. You just met it. Deho looked at the massive dragon, trapped and dying, because it's been alone for millions of years, because it watched over life in the galaxy when no one asked it to, because it's asking for one small thing before it dies, and because I can help. That's enough. Yo's I focused on him was something that might have been respect. You are certain? I'm certain. Then we must prepare. But first, I need you to contact someone in your military. Commander Taeyong. He served with you during the war. He is a practical man, but he is also fair. We will need his help for what comes next. How do you know about Commander Taeyong? Deho asked. I told you. I have been watching. I know more about your world than you might think. Contact him. Bring him here. Tell him everything. If we are to do this, we will need his support and his protection. There are others in your government who would want to use me for their own purposes. We must move quickly. Deho nodded slowly. I'll call him tonight. As they climbed back out of the cavern, Hannah was silent. Finally, she spoke. You're really going to risk your life for this? Yes. You're an idiot. Probably. I'm staying with you. Every step. If you're going to do something this stupid, someone needs to be there to document it and to pull you back if things go wrong. Deho smiled. Thanks, Hannah. Don't thank me yet. We still have to convince Commander Taeyong that this isn't insane. It is insane, Deho admitted, but that's never stopped humans before. Commander Taeyong stood at the edge of the cavern, staring down at the dragon. 12 armed soldiers stood behind him. They had been standing there for 10 minutes without speaking. Finally, the commander let out a long breath. I've seen a lot of strange things during the war, he said. I've seen aliens that breathe methane. I've seen ships that bend space. I've seen weapons that could crack a planet. But this is something else entirely. Do you believe us now? Deho asked. I believe my eyes. That's a dragon down there. A real dragon. The question is, what do we do about it? Taeyong climbed down to the cavern floor. His soldiers followed, their weapons ready but not raised. The commander approached Yo carefully, the way someone might approach a sleeping tiger. The dragon's eye opened. Commander Taeyong, you led the defense of the Soul Colony when the Velthrians attacked. You held the line for 16 days with only 300 soldiers. Many said you should retreat. You did not. You stayed because civilians needed time to evacuate. I watched you make that choice. Taeyong's face showed no emotion. You watched a lot of things, apparently. Why didn't you help us during the war? If you're so powerful, why did you let so many die? A fair question. I did not help because I cannot interfere in the development of species. That is the law my kind created long ago. We protect planets from natural disasters. We do not choose winners in wars. That would make us rulers, not guardians. You had to win or lose on your own merits. And if we had lost, then humanity would have ended or been enslaved. That is the harsh reality of the galaxy. But you did not lose. You won because you could imagine victory when victory seemed impossible. That is your strength. Taeyong was quiet for a moment. Then he turned to Daeho. Explain to me again what you want to do. Use small words. Daeho took a breath. The dragon wants to experience dreaming before it dies. To do that, I need to form a mental link with it. I'll share my dreams and imagination with Yo, but the process is dangerous. It could damage my brain permanently. Or kill you. Yes, or kill me. And you want to do this anyway. Yes, sir. Taeyong looked at Hannah. And you support this? No, Hannah said bluntly. I think it's dangerous and stupid. But I understand why my brother wants to do it. And I'll be there to monitor everything. The commander walked in a slow circle, thinking. His soldiers waited silently. Finally, he spoke. I need to make a call. Wait here. Taeyong climbed back up and walked out of hearing range. Daeho could see him talking on his comm device. The conversation lasted several minutes. When the commander returned, his face was grim. The council knows about the dragon. Word got out somehow. They want it captured and transported to a research facility immediately. They want to study it, take it apart if necessary. They think the dragon's biology could advance our technology by centuries. No, Daeho said firmly. That's not going to happen. I know. That's why I just told them the dragon died before we could secure it. I lied to the council. Daeho, do you understand what that means? If they find out, I'll be court-martialed. I'll lose everything. Why did you lie for us? Taeyong looked at the dragon, then back at Daeho. Because during the war, I learned something important. I learned that some things matter more than orders, more than protocol, more than my career. This creature watched over life in the galaxy for millions of years. It's asking for one thing before it dies. If we can't grant that simple request, then what do we fight the war for? What are we protecting? Thank you, Commander. Don't thank me yet. We still have to actually do this thing. And we need help. He gestured to one of the soldiers. Corporal Minho, contact Dr. Boire. Tell her we need her expertise. Tell her it's urgent and classified. The soldier saluted and moved away to make the call. Taeyong explained, Boire is a neurotechnician, one of the best. If anyone can monitor this mental link safely, it's her. She'll be here by tomorrow. That night, they set up a temporary camp near the cavern entrance. Daeho couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about what was coming. The mental link, the danger, the possibility that he might not survive. He got up and walked back down to the cavern. Yo was awake. The dragon always seemed to be awake. You are afraid, Yo said. It was not a question. Yes, Daeho admitted. I'm terrified. That is wise. Fear keeps you alive. But you are still willing to help me despite the fear. That is courage. I don't feel very courageous. I feel like I'm about to do something incredibly stupid. Perhaps it is both. Courage and stupidity often look the same from the outside. Tell me, Daeho, why are you really doing this? You could walk away. No one would blame you. Daeho sat down on a rock near the dragon's massive head. During the war, I was a medic. I saved people. Or at least I tried to. Some I saved. Many I couldn't. But every time I had to make a choice. Risk my life to help someone or stay safe and let them die. I always chose to help. Always. Even when it was stupid. Even when I was terrified. Because if I didn't try, who would? And you see me as someone who needs saving. You're dying and alone. You've spent millions of years watching over life. You deserve to have your wish granted. That's all there is to it. Your kind is strange, Yo said softly. You are violent and destructive. You fight each other over small differences. You harm your own world. And yet you also have this capacity for compassion that defies logic. You will risk everything for strangers, for aliens, even for creatures from myth. This contradiction is fascinating. We're complicated. Daeho agreed. We have to be. The universe is complicated. Simple creatures don't survive. Perhaps that is why you can dream. Dreams are complicated too. They mix memory and desire, fear and hope, reality and impossibility. You need a complicated mind to dream complicated dreams. They talked through the night. Yo told Deho about worlds that no human had ever seen, about civilizations that rose and fell before Earth's sun was born, about the beauty and terror of deep space, about the weight of watching species die despite all efforts to save them. Deho told Yo about human things, about his childhood and soul, about learning to swim in the ocean, about his first day of medical school, about the moment during the war when he realized he might not survive, and how that clarity made everything else seem more precious. You live such short lives, Yo observed. Compared to me, you are like mayflies, born and gone in an instant, and yet you pack so much into that brief time. So much feeling, so much striving, so much dreaming. Perhaps brief lives dream more intensely because they know time is limited. Maybe, Deho said, or maybe we dream because we have no choice. If we didn't dream, we'd give up. Dreams keep us going when everything else says to quit. Dr. Bore arrived the next morning. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and quick hands. She listened to Taeyong's explanation without interrupting. Then she looked at Dae-ho like he was insane. You want to link your brain to an alien consciousness millions of years old. Do you have any idea what that could do to you? I have some idea, yes. Let me be very clear. Your brain is designed to handle human thoughts, human emotions, human memories. This creature's mind is nothing like yours. The sheer difference in scale could cause catastrophic damage. Your neurons could burn out from the strain. You could have seizures, strokes, complete neural collapse. And that's if things go well. What if things go badly? If things go badly, your consciousness could become trapped in the dragon's mind. When the dragon dies, you die with it. Your body would be left alive, but empty, a shell with no one inside. Hannah made a small sound of distress. Dae-ho reached out and squeezed her hand. Can you monitor the process? Can you pull me back if something goes wrong? Bo-ra sighed. I can try. I'll set up neural monitors. If I see dangerous activity, I can inject sedatives to break the link. But understand this. If the link goes deep enough, fast enough, I might not be able to stop it. You could be gone before I can react. I understand. And you're still going to do it. Yes. Bo-ra shook her head. You're either the bravest person I've ever met or the stupidest. I haven't decided which yet. Probably both, Dae-ho said with a weak smile. They spent the rest of the day preparing. Bo-ra set up equipment around the cavern. Monitors, scanners, emergency medical supplies. Hannah helped her, checking and rechecking everything. Taeyong posted guards at the cavern entrance with orders to let no one through. As the sun began to set, Bo-ra finished her preparations. We can do this tomorrow morning. That gives you tonight to change your mind. I won't change my mind, Dae-ho said. Yo's voice entered all their minds. Thank you. All of you. You are risking much for a creature you barely know. This is the dream I want to understand. This compassion. This willingness to help. If I can experience even a fraction of what drives you to do this, I will die content. Taeyong stood straight. Then let's make sure you get that chance. And let's make sure Dae-ho survives to tell the story. Dae-ho looked at the dragon, at his sister, at the commander, and the doctor. Tomorrow would change everything. Tomorrow he would share his dreams with a being from before time. Tomorrow he might die. But tonight, he was surrounded by people who cared. And that was enough. The morning came too quickly. Dae-ho woke before dawn and could not fall back asleep. His heart was beating fast. His hands were shaking slightly. He had faced death before during the war, but this felt different. This was choosing to walk into danger, not having danger forced upon him. Bo-ra had him lie down on a medical bed she had brought into the cavern. She attached sensors to his head, his chest, his arms. Wires ran from the sensors to her monitoring equipment. Screens showed his heart rate, his brain activity, his oxygen levels. Everything looked normal. For now, once the link begins, these readings will change fast, Bo-ra explained. Your brain activity will spike. Your heart rate will increase. That's expected. What I'm watching for are the dangerous signs. Seizure patterns. Neural overload. If I see those, I'm breaking the link immediately, whether you want me to or not. Understood, Deho said. Hannah stood nearby, her face pale. She had been quiet all morning. Now she moved closer and took her brother's hand. You don't have to do this. We can find another way. There is no other way. You heard, yo. This is the only method. Then promise me something. Promise me you'll fight to come back. Don't get lost in there. Don't forget who you are. I promise. Taeyong checked his weapon one more time, a nervous habit. We're ready when you are. My men are guarding the entrance. No one will interrupt. Yo's voice filled the cavern. Daeho, come closer. We must begin. Daeho stood and walked to the dragon's massive head. This close, he could see the individual scales. Each one was larger than his hand. He could feel heat radiating from the dragon's body. He could hear the slow, labored breathing. Yo was dying. Time was running out. What do I do? Daeho asked. Place your hand on my head, between my eyes. Then clear your mind. I will do the rest. The link will form slowly at first. You will feel my presence in your thoughts. Do not resist. Let me in. Then, when the connection is stable, share with me. Show me your dreams. Show me what it means to imagine. Daeho reached up and placed his hand on the dragon's scales. They were warm and smooth. He closed his eyes and tried to clear his mind. At first, nothing happened. Then he felt something, a gentle pressure at the edges of his consciousness, like someone knocking on a door. He relaxed. He let the pressure in. And suddenly he was not alone in his own head. Yo's presence was enormous. It felt like standing at the base of a mountain and trying to see the top. Ancient, vast, filled with memories that stretched back millions of years. Daeho felt small, insignificant. A single candle trying to light up an ocean. Do not fear. Yo's voice came, gentler now. I will not overwhelm you. I will be careful. Show me slowly. Start with something small. Daeho thought about his childhood. He remembered being 5 years old, standing in his backyard, looking up at the stars. His father had pointed to the moon and told him that humans would walk there someday. Young Daeho had not understood how that was possible, but he had believed it anyway. He had dreamed of going to space himself. Yo experienced the memory. The dragon felt the wonder of a child looking at the impossible and believing it could be real. This is extraordinary. You did not know how to reach the stars. You had no ships, no technology, and yet you believed you would get there. This faith in the impossible. This is dreaming. Yes, Daeho thought back. Humans dream of things that don't exist yet. Then we work to make them real. Show me more. Daeho shared another memory. He was in medical school, exhausted from studying. He had failed an important exam. He was thinking about quitting. But then he imagined himself as a doctor, saving lives, helping people. That dream kept him going. He studied harder. He passed the next exam. The dream became real through effort. You'll absorb this. You use dreams as motivation, as fuel to push through hardship. When reality is painful, you imagine something better and move toward it. That's right. Dreams pull us forward. The link was growing stronger. Daeho could feel Yo's consciousness expanding into his mind, exploring, learning. On the monitors, Bo-Ra watched the readings climb. Brain activity was increasing. Heart rate was up, but still within safe ranges. Barely. Show me dreams that failed. Yo requested. Not all imagined futures come true. Show me the pain of broken dreams. Daeho hesitated. Then he shared a harder memory. During the war, he had dreamed of saving everyone. He had imagined himself as the perfect medic who never lost a patient. But people died despite his best efforts. He remembered holding a young soldier as she died, unable to stop the bleeding. He had failed his dream. The pain had been crushing. Yo felt the agony of that moment. This hurts. This failure. Why do you continue dreaming if dreams can cause such pain? Because the alternative is worse. If I stopped dreaming, I would stop trying. The soldier I couldn't save died, but I saved 10 others that day. If I had given up after the first failure, those 10 would have died too. We dreamed knowing we might fail. We try anyway. This is courage. This is accepting pain as the price of hope. The link deepened further. Deho began sharing not just his memories, but humanity's collective dreams. The dream of ending war. The dream of curing all diseases. The dream of exploring the galaxy. The dream of understanding the universe. Dreams that were thousands of years old, passed down through generations, still burning bright despite countless setbacks. Yo was overwhelmed. The dragon had never experienced anything like this. For a being that could only perceive what existed, this flood of imagined possibilities was intoxicating and terrifying. So many futures. So many versions of what might be. How do you choose which dream to follow? We don't always know. Sometimes we follow the wrong dreams. Sometimes we dream of bad things. Humans can imagine both heaven and hell. We have the freedom to dream of destruction as easily as we dream of creation. That's the burden of imagination. Deho showed Yo the darker dreams. Dreams of conquest. Dreams of revenge. Dreams of power at any cost. Humanity's capacity for dreaming included the ability to imagine terrible futures and work toward them. War started because different groups dreamed of different futures and refused to compromise. This is dangerous, Yo realized. The ability to imagine can be used for harm as well as good. Yes, that's why we have to choose carefully. That's why we need wisdom along with imagination. We need to dream, but we also need to dream responsibly. The monitors were screaming now. Boare watched the numbers climb into dangerous territory. Deho's neural activity is at 140% of normal. His brain is working too hard. We need to stop soon. Not yet, Hannah said, though her voice shook. He's still conscious. He's still himself. Let him finish. Deho was barely aware of the physical world anymore. He was deep in a link with Yo, sharing everything he could. He showed the dragon humanity's greatest dream of all, the dream of unity, the idea that someday all beings might live together in peace, that differences could be celebrated instead of feared, that the galaxy could be a home for everyone, not a battlefield. You dream this even though you fight wars, Yo observed. We dream this because we fight wars. We know the cost of conflict, so we dream of something better. Maybe we'll never achieve it. Maybe it's impossible, but we dream it anyway. That's what humans do. We dream of the impossible, and we don't stop dreaming even when we fail. Something changed in that moment. Yo was not just observing dreams anymore. The dragon was experiencing them. For the first time in millions of years, Yo imagined something that did not exist. The dragon pictured a future where dragons were reborn, not as they were, but as something new. Beings with both ancient wisdom and young imagination. The dream formed in Yo's mind, unbidden and beautiful. I am dreaming, Yo said with wonder. I am actually dreaming. I can see it. A future that does not exist. A possibility. This is what I have missed. This is what my kind never knew. Oh, Deho, thank you. Thank you for this gift. But the price was too high. The neural link was burning through Deho's brain. Boare saw the reading spike into critical levels. That's it. I'm breaking the connection. Now. Wait, Yo's voice commanded. I can save him, but I must act quickly. The dragon did something impossible. Yo reversed the flow of the mental link. Instead of taking from Deho, the dragon gave. Energy flowed from Yo into Deho's failing mind, supporting it, protecting it. The dragon took the damage that would have destroyed Deho and absorbed it into its own dying consciousness. What are you doing? Deho thought weakly. I am giving you something in return for your dreams. A gift, the memory of Earth's history as I have witnessed it, not as learned knowledge, but as instinct, as feeling. You will know things without knowing how you know them. This is my gratitude. The link snapped suddenly. Deho collapsed backward, caught by Hannah before he hit the ground. His eyes were open but unseeing. His body was convulsing. Boare rushed forward with medications, injecting them rapidly. The seizure stopped. Deho's breathing steadied. His eyes focused. I'm okay, he whispered. I'm back. I'm alive. Hannah was crying. You idiot. You magnificent idiot. Yo's body was changing. The scales were becoming transparent, crystalline. Light was beginning to glow from within the dragon's form. It is time. My flame goes out, but I go knowing what I sought. I have dreamed, Deho, I have imagined, and it was worth everything. Wait! Deho struggled to sit up. What's happening to you? I am transforming. This is how dragons die. We become something else. Something that will remain after we are gone. Do not grieve. I am content. The dragon's body was glowing brighter now, turning into pure crystal. But Yo had one more thing to say. Remember this, child of Earth. Keep dreaming. All of you, dream of impossible things. Dream of better worlds. And then make those dreams real. That is your purpose. That is your gift to the galaxy. The light became too bright to look at directly. Everyone shielded their eyes. And when the light faded, Yo was gone. In the dragon's place stood a massive structure of crystal, beautiful and glowing softly with inner light. 3 months had passed since Yo transformed. Deho stood in front of the crystal structure, his hand resting on its smooth surface. The crystal was warm to the touch and pulsed with a gentle rhythm, like a heartbeat. It had become his habit to visit every morning before starting his day. The crystal had changed everything. Scientists from around Earth had come to study it. What they found was impossible to explain with current knowledge. The structure generated clean energy, enough to power a small city. It emitted a field that seemed to enhance creative thinking in anyone nearby. People who spent time near the crystal reported having more vivid dreams, clearer ideas, and stronger inspiration. But that was not the strangest part. Some people, including Hannah, had begun experiencing shared dreams. They would wake up having dreamed the same images, the same feelings. It was as if Yo's essence had not truly died, but transformed into something that connected minds across space. Deho himself had changed. He sometimes knew things he had never learned. He would look at ancient ruins and understand their purpose without being told. He could sense weather patterns days before they arrived. The gift Yo had given him was integrating slowly into his mind, ancient knowledge becoming instinct. You're here early again, Hannah said, walking up beside him. She carried a data pad filled with notes. I've been analyzing the dream reports. Over 300 people have now experienced the shared dreaming. The pattern is spreading. What do the dreams show? Deho asked. Different things for different people. But there's a common thread. They're all about possibilities, about futures that could exist. Some people dream of curing aging. Others dream of peaceful contact with new alien species. Some dream of Earth restored to its pre-war beauty. It's like Yo is teaching us to dream bigger. Commander Taeyong approached them, looking tired. He had spent the last 3 months fighting a political battle. The council met again last night. They're still pushing to move the crystal to a research facility. They want to study it in controlled conditions, extract its secrets. They can't, Deho said firmly. Yo chose this place. Moving it might damage it. I know. I've been telling them that. But they're getting impatient. They see a source of unlimited energy and advanced knowledge. They want to exploit it. What will you do? What I've been doing. Delay. Obstruct. Protect. But I can't hold them off forever. Deho. Eventually, they'll overrule me. Before Deho could respond, Boare came running. You need to see this. Now, we have visitors. They hurried to the observation post at the cavern entrance. In the sky above, ships were descending. Not human ships. These were alien vessels, dozens of them, representing different species and civilizations. Taeyong immediately ordered his soldiers to defensive positions. The ships landed at a respectful distance. Hatches opened. Aliens emerged. Deho recognized some of the species from the war. But these were not warriors. These were scholars, diplomats, and leaders. They approached slowly, making gestures of peace. One alien stepped forward. It was tall and thin, with blue skin and multiple eyes. It spoke through a translation device. We are the Kalari. We are peaceful explorers. We have come because we felt something impossible. We felt the death of a dragon. We felt its transformation. This has not happened in millions of years. You knew about the dragons? Hannah asked, Our oldest records speak of them, the ancient gardeners, the first wise ones. They protected our homeworld long ago, before our civilization began. We thought they were all gone. We felt the cosmic ripple when this one transformed. We had to come. More aliens came forward, each with similar stories. The dragons had touched their worlds too, had protected them, had watched over them. The knowledge that one dragon had survived until now, and had found what it sought before dying, had drawn them across the galaxy. An alien with crystalline features approached the dragon crystal. "May I touch it?" Deho nodded. The alien placed his hand on the surface and gasped. "I can feel it. The dream, the hope, the possibility. This is what the dragons sought. This is what they never had. And now it is here, preserved forever in this form." A human delegation arrived within hours. They came from Earth's governing council, demanding to know why alien ships had landed without permission. They found representatives from 20 different species gathered around the crystal, all experiencing the same sense of wonder. The lead counselor, a stern woman named One, pushed through the crowd. "What is the meaning of this?" "Commander Taeyong, why were we not informed?" "Events moved quickly," Taeyong replied calmly. "These visitors came peacefully. They pose no threat. That's not the point. This crystal belongs to Earth. These aliens have no right to it." The Kalari diplomat turned to her. "With respect, this crystal belongs to no one. It is the last gift of the dragons. It is for all species who can dream. To claim it for one world would betray everything the dragons represented." Ji-Won's face hardened. "Earth discovered it. Earth protected it. We have the right to decide its fate." "Do you?" The Kalari gestured to the other aliens. "We all received protection from the dragons at some point in our history. This final dragon chose to die on Earth. Yes. But its gift is not just for humans. The dream field it generates reaches across space. We have felt it on our ships. Our people are dreaming more clearly, creating more boldly. This is not something you can contain or control." Deho stepped forward. "She's right. Yo's gift is for everyone. That was the whole point. Dragon protected all life, not just one species. We need to honor that. And who are you to make that decision?" Ji-Won demanded. "I'm the one who shared dreams with a dragon. I'm the one Yo trusted with its final wish. And I'm telling you that if you try to exploit this crystal, you'll destroy everything it represents." The counselor looked around at the gathered aliens, at the crystal, at the stubborn faces of Deho and his companions. She was outnumbered, and she knew it. "Fine. We'll discuss this further. But this conversation is not over." Over the following weeks, a solution emerged. The crystal would remain where it was, protected by international treaty. But it would not belong to Earth alone. Instead, it would become the foundation of something new. A place where any species could come to learn, to be inspired, to dream together. They called it the Garden of Dreams. Aliens came from across the galaxy. Some stayed for days, sitting near the crystal, experiencing the dreams. Others came to share their own knowledge, their own visions of the future. The cavern became a meeting place, a neutral ground where different civilizations could interact without the weight of politics or war. Deho was offered a position as the garden's first keeper, but he refused. "I'm not meant to stay here. Yo showed me something during our link. There are other species out there struggling to survive, young civilizations that need help. They need someone to teach them what Yo taught me. That survival is not just about strength or technology. It's about the ability to dream of solutions that don't exist yet." Hannah understood. "You're going to travel to help others." "Yes. Will you stay here? Document everything? Make sure the garden grows properly?" "Someone has to. And I think I'm supposed to be here. The shared dreams I'm having are getting stronger. I think Yo is guiding me somehow, showing me how to help different species understand each other." Commander Taeyong had been promoted for his role in protecting the dragon. He now oversaw security for the entire garden. "I'll make sure nothing happens to this place. No one will exploit it. No one will weaponize it. That's my promise." Bo-Ra had become the chief medical officer for the garden. She studied how the crystal's energy affected different species. "The dream field is incredible. It's not changing people. It's unlocking what was already there. Every sentient species has imagination. The crystal just helps them access it more easily. This could change everything. 6 months after Yo's transformation, Deho prepared to leave Earth. His ship was small but fast, designed for long journeys. He stood one last time before the crystal, his hand on its surface. "Thank you," he said softly. "Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for the gift. I promise I'll use it well." He felt a pulse of warmth through the crystal, and in his mind he heard an echo, not words exactly, but a feeling, gratitude, pride, hope. Hannah came to see him off. "Where will you go first?" "There's a species called the Navari. They're facing extinction from a climate disaster on their home world. They've given up hope. I'm going to show them that hope is always possible, that even when everything seems lost, you can dream of a way forward." That sounds like something Yo would want. It is. Dragons protected life. I can't do what they did. I can't stop asteroids or prevent solar flares. But I can do this. I can help people learn to dream. And maybe that's just as important. As his ship lifted off, Deho looked back at Earth. The crystal was glowing brighter than usual, visible even from space. Around it, ships from a dozen different species were gathering. The garden was growing. Different civilizations were learning to dream together, to imagine shared futures instead of competing ones. The galaxy was changing, not because of weapons or technology or conquest, but because one ancient dragon had learned to dream, and in learning had taught everyone else why dreams mattered. Deho set course for the Navari homeworld. He did not know if he could help them. He did not know if they would listen. But he would try, because that was what humans did. They dreamed of impossible things, and then they worked to make those dreams real. Behind him, Earth and its crystal grew smaller. Ahead of him, the stars waited. And in his mind, ancient knowledge mixed with human hope, creating something new, something that had never existed before. The last dragon on Earth had wished a dream. In granting that wish, humanity had learned why they must never stop dreaming. And now, that lesson would spread across the galaxy, carried by one human who understood that wisdom and wonder were not opposites, but partners. That knowledge and dreams were not enemies, but allies. That even the oldest among us can learn something new, and even the youngest among us has something to teach. The ship jumped to faster-than-light travel, and Deho smiled. He was going to help a dying species learn to hope again. He was going to teach them to dream. And in doing so, he would honor the memory of the last dragon, who had watched over life for millions of years and died having finally learned to imagine tomorrow.